My guests are seated, and let me introduce to you Elvis Darko, who is the editor of the Finder newspaper. Elvis, good morning. How are you?
I'm not that well. I have some cold since Saturday, and I'm really battling.
Sorry about that. Well, you have done well to be here.
In fact,
it can't be easy.
I had to. If not, I would just have to call it up at that. That since I've given my commitment, I just have to find time.
Well, thank you for making it. Thank you for making it. We also have Ebenezer Afanyi-Dadzie, who is the head of Citi Business News here at Citi TV, Citi FM. Good morning, Ebenezer.
Good morning, Kwaku.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
How was the weekend?
Not bad.
Mm-hmm. Rested well?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good. Let's begin to have our conversation. We want to first of all look at the conversations around the Auditor General and the EOCO. I want to read a bit of a story that we have here, and then I'll come back and we'll have the conversation. All right. So, government has no agenda against Auditor General. This is on citynewsroom.com, and this is. Let me get into that story here. Government has debunked assertions that it has orchestrated an agenda to remove the Auditor General, Daniel Domelovo, from office. According to the government, such allegations are mere speculations without merit. The EOCO, Economic and Organized Crime Office, started investigating the audit service following a petition it received from a political pressure group, Alliance for Accountable Governance, on allegations of procurement breaches. In a letter to the investigative body by the Auditor General, Domelovo indicated that EOCO has no legal mandate to probe him. But speaking on the big issue, a Deputy Information Minister, Pius Enam Hajide, dared the public to provide any evidence of witch hunting by the government against the Auditor General. With all due respect, it is a scandalous suggestion. In worse terms, it is a silly suggestion. We cannot encourage this reckless commentary on an otherwise serious suggestion. If there is any evidence, action or inaction that somebody wants to point, even to suggest somebody's work is even undermined, that can be put forward rather than just making an unsubstantiated blanket and fundamental statement that there may be an agenda to remove somebody. These are serious matters, and I can assure that the government has no agenda. We have no interest at all. The article then goes to talk about CSOs that back the call for EOCO to stop probing the Auditor General. Let me start with you, Elvis. What is your take on the back and forth that's going on? Government says they have no interest. Others people believe that the Auditor General is being intimidated.
I think most of the thing, they just much ado about nothing.
Really?
Yeah. We all live in a country governed by a constitution.
Yes.
The constitution defines the role of every institution in this country. The Auditor General audits institutions as to how they spend public funds.
Yeah.
And when he finds out that the money has not been properly used, he indicts them and surcharges them to pay the money back to the state. That is his job as Auditor General. And ever since he came, he is the first Auditor General that came and said, if you take public money, you must be surcharged to pay back. And before he assumed office, no Auditor General has done that. They've always left it to Parliament that because they presented the report to Public Accounts Committee, it should rather be the work of the Public Accounts Committee to chase the people for the money. So he brought in a completely new way of doing things, and people like me, I'm a big fan of his. I love him. I like the way he does his work, the passion and everything. For me,
you need some water.
He's gone to court challenging the authority of EOCO to investigate him. And I think it's the best thing to do. We have a constitution that we have decided not to review. So many things are happening that we clearly see that they are loopholes. Most of the changes that have happened at Constitution is because some people took constitutional issues to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court make pronouncements, and the pronouncement become law. So for me, once he's sued, I think that we should let the court decide. Because I can also not phantom a situation where anybody wants me to believe that there is an office or a public institution in Ghana that cannot be investigated. That one too, I don't understand it.
Okay.
Because we are all working within the same constitution, within the same framework of the constitution. So if the Auditor General can investigate other people for misapplying public funds, how are we saying that his office cannot be investigated if he is accused of misapplying public funds or not following procedure? So I think that the issue of political agenda, or for me, it's not the issue. Right now, if you look at his suit, he is challenging the authority of EOCO. He's here to tell us that the said infractions actually happened or not.
Okay.
You understand it?
Okay.
The point is we have to
establish... But won't
establish...
that come out in an investigation?
But he's saying that he shouldn't be investigated.
No, I don't think he's saying he shouldn't be investigated.
No, he's
saying EOCO doesn't have...
So who has authority to investigate him? EOCO investigates economic and organized crime units. Procurement is an economic dealing.
Yeah.
Procurement is an economic dealing.
Yes,
so how can anybody tell me that EOCO... As I said, I've not read the EOCO Act to know whether they can investigate him or not, but I think EOCO made a strong point that the office is not above investigation. The office of the president, which is the highest of the land, is even not above investigation.
Okay.
So for me, the idea that Auditor General's office should not be investigated, unless we are saying that EOCO by its law does not have the power. Fine. But we should also pay attention to the issues that have been raised by the Public Procurement Authority, if indeed they happened. If they happened, then the same way that the Auditor General audits people and come out and find it, Public Procurement Authority also has every right to investigate any procurement and come out with their report. So if it is true that the Public Procurement Authority actually investigated the Auditor General's office and found that they breached procurement rules, and based on that, AFAC, which is an NPP-aligned group, took the matter to EOCO. Yes, he has every right to make accusation of political witch hunting because the group that took the matter to EOCO is affiliated to the governing party. And this is an open, everybody knows. So if based on that he accuses the government and the MPP party of trying to get him out of office, he will be doing that based on the fact that the group of people who are asking that he be investigated are a group that is known to be an affiliate or aligned to the MPP. So I don't have a problem with it. But as I said, I'm happy that he has gone to court for the court to decide whether EOCO has capacity to investigate him or not. I'll wait for that pronouncement, and that will open the door for us on certain issues. As I said, if the office of the president, which is the highest of the land, is not above investigations, then there's no office in this country, and there's no individual, there's no institution that can say that for them they are above investigations. So whilst we talk about his complaints, we should also be asking the questions. What are his responses to the allegations that Public Procurement Authority is making against his office? Probably it's not him as a person, but maybe the procurement officer or someone in the office did something wrong. Is it that he's denying what the Public Procurement Authority said has happened? But I'm not getting that in the conversation. The CSOs that have come to back him, they did not make the argument that the findings of the Public Procurement Authority doesn't exist. But they are saying that nobody should hunt the man. Is it? We all want a better Ghana. So everybody must be subjected to the law of the land. Nobody can be and above the law of Ghana. So for me, once I support all that he's doing, and the fact that he has gone to court, I'm happy for interpretation for us to know whether you can investigate him. It is equally important that we also find out whether what the PPA is saying that has happened in his office actually happened or not. And then we look into the issue. So we should set the parameters clear. We are mixing the issues, and we are not actually focusing on the issue of whether his office had done something wrong in terms of procurement. We are not getting direction on that. And we must get clear direction on that.
Let me come to Eben. So where do you stand as far as this is concerned? Elvis says that there's no clarity as to whether he's actually done anything wrong or not.
Well, this issue is quite interesting for me because I want to build a foundation from the beginning. Now, even the appointment of Domelevo itself was controversial. Controversial in the sense that Domelevo is one of the last-minute appointments Mahama made. And, you know, if you remember, the transition team of the MPP then had a lot of issues with some of the last-minute contracts and last-minute appointments.
Yeah.
And Domlevo, the head of the NCC, and the head of Shraj, these were last-minute appointments Mahama made. And let me give you a quote, something Kojo Nkrumah said on Tuesday, 20th December 2016, about the last-minute appointment. He says, it is the view of the MPP team on the transition that this marks of bad faith because there was this general agreement that without prejudice to their powers, there will be consultation on matters such as the present. The MPP team finds it most disappointing. The view of the MPP team is that the president-elect will reserve the right to review these appointments as and when he assumes office. Now, it is on the basis of some of these things that people can easily suggest that there's an attempt to remove certain people like Domlevo. Now, the reason it will not be so easy to remove is because Domlevo is an Article 71 holder, those officer, and he's insulated. He has a tenure of office that is, he has a security of tenure. So you can't easily remove him.
Yeah.
Now, so these are, for me, these are the things that come.
Okay.
And then you
but
remember,
what about what Pius is saying?
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that Pius has, you see, he can't say that it is stupid for people to say that government is funding him. No. Based on some of these commentary, some of these things, based on, you remember even Domlevo has an issue with Duajiman, the board chairman of the audit service. Yeah. Audit service. And that in itself also has a way of affecting how the place is being run. And it's like, it looks as if he's more like a lone ranger. And also, like Elvis said, the approach he's choosing to search out people. And for me, for a man to be that bold, to even search out the whole senior minister, an MPP guru, Osafo Mafo, is not a joke. So you cannot sweep under the carpet issues of possibly attempted intimidation or attempt to hound a man out just because he's doing the right. And Domlevo says something, that when you fight corruption, corruption will come and fight. The people you are fighting will come and fight you. He said that. But he also says something that for me suggests that there may have been some error. Not necessarily criminal, but procurement breaches. There could be a procurement breach. It doesn't mean he benefited from whatever. They bought some cars. About I'm not sure of the number, but we are told it cost around 6.2 million. And he breached the public procurement at 663. And then they said that the PPA did some checks, and they said that indeed there was value for the cars, which means that obviously we needed it. But then as to whether there was a breach in the procurement and all that, that is another matter. But then there's a place where Domlevo says that it is a storm in a teacup. Now, when you say a storm in a teacup, what you mean is that it's a trivial matter. But the fact that it's a trivial matter doesn't make it right. So for me, that in a certain sense tells you that there's a certain admission of some procurement breach. Don't forget that it is procurement breach that took out Charlotte Osei of the EC. And what is happening? I see a Charlotte Osei repeat situation.
I see.
And you see the procurement law is quite interesting. You don't even need to prove that you benefited from it. The fact that if it's proven that there was a breach, it's enough for you to be kicked out. So it's quite an interesting case. But the fact that he's also decided to challenge the powers of EOCO to investigate him is another interesting subject. And also, from my readings, EOCO and then the Office of the Special Prosecutor, they both draw their powers from Article 88, which is the power of the Attorney General. So then some are arguing that, okay, maybe the AG can even order EOCO that, yes, you have the right to investigate. But others say, no, that cannot be legal. It's not possible. So I think it's an interesting conversation we need to have. But also, we also need to know that the coming into force of the Office of the Special Prosecutor somehow reviewed what EOCO can handle and what it cannot. So it is actually possible that a procurement breach may have left the hands of EOCO in terms of the issues they do. Don't forget that EOCO used to be the serious fraud office. And procurement in certain sense, in as much as there's a certain breach somewhere, may not be that much of a kind of a serious criminal fraud. So it's possible that indeed it is not EOCO that should investigate such a matter. If it is not EOCO, then who should investigate? Office of Special Prosecutor? Well, people have said that Amidu is a friend to Domlevo. Who should go and investigate? So if you are taking even this issue to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, it's another matter. So I think that it's quite an interesting case.
But Amidu is known to have the guts to hang out his friends to dry. So.
Well, you know, it's sometimes you can also have instances where you say, oh, you know what? Because this man is my friend, for integrity's sake, I wouldn't want to deal with this issue because maybe I may find myself compromising my stance.
Yeah.
You know, so it's unfortunate, but I also feel that indeed the Auditor General is giving this government some hints.
Should the president step in?
Well,
this is what Lawyer Paul is suggesting that the president should come in.
At this point, I do not know what exactly the president will do. I think that, like Elvis said, we should allow the rule of law to work. He's gone to court. Let's see what the court does. If they're able to say that, okay, you can be investigated, I'm sure he will avail himself, and the process will continue. Then we see. But then let us also be careful, like he said, that somebody feels that maybe he or she is untouchable. It shouldn't be the case. Yeah. Everybody should be dealt with fairly according to the law. But we should also be careful not to hound that good man like Domlevo. He's doing a good job, and he's someone we need. And also, don't forget, there's a reason why. For me, I even think that we had a good opportunity to have somebody like the Auditor General being appointed by a different government, serving in another government. Because it's a good thing. Because you see, you need somebody who can dig and expose and not cover things. Yeah. There were those who were digging and decided to cover. Yeah. He digs and he decides that he won't cover. And to surcharge people like the senior minister, it's not a joke. He surcharged him to pay over 1 million cedis. Yeah. And he has, knowing what this country is about and the partisanship and the polarization how the system, to have a public officer have that courage, he's doing a great job. So I think that he needs all the support he can get.
Elvis, I wanted to ask you something about Domlevo was appointed from the last government. Special prosecutor is also a card-bearing member of the NDC. Yeah. What do you make of this in terms of, but don't comment yet. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after the break, and we'll continue the conversation. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. We're having a conversation about the Auditor General and the tussle with EOCO. Elvis, you were going to make a comment on the appointments that came from the NDC side.
The Constitution and
does it make any difference?
Doesn't make any. The Constitution knew. Constitution, those who wrote the Constitution, they foresaw some of these things. That's why they give those institutions fixed term of office. Okay. Once you stick to the rules and you do your work well, nobody can remove you. Before you be removed, there has to be a ground, an established ground before you can be removed. So the Constitution knew that these things will happen. That's why it made that protection of office, that until something negative, criminal, something is found against you, no president can come and say, you are appointed by the president, I don't like you, so go. No president can do that. Unless something is established against you as having flouted the rules of your engagement, then that can be a basis for removal. So for me, as I said, that the Auditor General does a fantastic job. He has retrieved over 60 million Ghana cedis for Ghana. He is the one who did the audit. When you talk about the NDC, that's why it makes me laugh. He is the one who did the audit for this government when they came to power about debt that they said they owe. And was able to tell the government that there are over 5 billion debt that is part of this. The government should not pay because there's no documentation of the government doesn't owe that debt. So his job is so valuable. Yeah. That's what I say. So I support him all that he does. But my only problem is nobody can be above the laws of the land. We are all operating within the same constitution and the same institution. Yeah. So for me, the argument should not be who is hounding him out. If he has not committed any crime, who is going to hound him out? But now there's allegation that when you were doing the procurement of the cars, the procurement process that you are supposed to follow, you didn't follow it. The question is he saying that his office followed the procurement process or they did not? If he admits that he did not, he also flouted the law. Because when people flout the law and he finishes his audit, he gives them time to come and challenge him in court. Yeah. If they don't go to court, it means you have admitted that what the auditor found against you is right. Yeah. And he charges you. And he charges and chases you to collect the money for the state. So the same way, if public procurement, which is also another independent institution on its own, things that you have flouted the process of procurement, we have to establish that, oh yes, it happened. It does not mean that when it happens, we should remove him from office. Yeah. But establishing that it happened or not is key.
It's the key thing.
It's the key.
All right.
So for me, as I said, the court should tell us if EOCO can investigate him or not. If the EOCO can investigate him, which institute can investigate his office? Because he cannot investigate his own office. So at the end of the day, somebody has to investigate him. That is accountability. So for me, this, as I said, because the group that took the petition to the EOCO that the man should be investing. It's AFAC. And everybody knows AFAC is an NPP affiliated group. So he has every reason to say, these are NPP people who want me out of office because of the institution. But the bottom line is, what they are saying, that public procurement authority say you have done, have you done it or not?
Or not, okay.
If we establish that, then we can say he's being hounded out of office because he didn't do it. But if he did it, then it's another game altogether. So let's not be emotional about some of these things. That is how a country grows. When we go through things like this and the courts make pronouncements, we are able to fix it. Then the next time, it guides people in that office how to act. It guides the nation how to act. So for me, going to the court was the best thing that he has done. And I think that we should let the court decide.
All right, okay. Eben, your final thoughts on this. Is he going to survive this?
It's a bit dicey, to be frank with you. But yesterday I was talking to a friend and I said that this could turn out like a Charlotte Osei case. Mark my words.
Wow.
And don't forget that the breaches are the same. They are all procurement. You know, Charlotte Osei is basically procurement.
Yeah.
And so, and like I said, the word that came from the man's mouth is that it is a storm in a teacup. A storm in a teacup.
It's still a storm.
It's still a storm. You're only saying that it's just a minor thing. So if I'm to take those words serious, what it means is that he admits there was something wrong.
Yeah.
But then also, because you are not a favorite of the system, if they would have overlooked for someone else, they won't overlook for you because you are not their favorite. Because they had their suspicion as to why Mahama will appoint an Auditor General to monitor them in their reign at the last hour. Domlevo was appointed by Mahama on 24 December, 2 weeks after they had lost the election. And he was sworn in on 30th December. You know, so the mistrust has already been there for the government. So if you play yourself into their mouth, you are finished. So this looks like he may have played himself just a little. And because law is law, it doesn't matter how small it is. If you are found culpable, they will deal with you. So I feel that he might fall.
Okay, well, let's move on. We're going to talk about our Operation Feed Yourself. Poultry farmers join rice farmers begging for reduction in imports. Let me take you to a story on citinewsroom.com, and then we will have a conversation about that. Poultry farmers beg government to reduce chicken imports. Okay. The Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association is calling on government to reduce the importation of chicken ahead of the festive season to save the local poultry industry. The association says local poultry farmers still incur losses as consumers opt for imported chicken over the broilers produced in the country. Speaking at a stakeholder meeting in Accra, Vice President of the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association of Ghana, Michael Ampem, says the reduction of importation of chicken by government will also reduce the rate of unemployment. The imported chicken has been with us for more than 2 decades. It's affecting us in the money people have to pay in engaging workers. Importation doesn't employ people. It rather employs people in other countries. It is just the end products, which are the birds, that come. So if we reduce the importation, it will create employment. All right, let me start with Eben. This seems to make, it's like its basic sense. Government is trying to, create more jobs. If reducing importation will have a ripple effect of eventually creating more jobs, it's a no-brainer, right?
I mean, it's, on the surface, it's simple, but in practicality, it's difficult.
Why?
It's difficult because there's no political will to really do this. I mean, anytime we have a conversation about consumption and import and issues, the fact that we are not doing made in Ghana stuff.
Yeah.
The first thing I say is political will. It's not there. So, for instance, let me use a scenario in the Western region for you to make an argument. You know, the Western Rail Line, which was the heart of railways in Ghana many years ago. Yeah. A lot of the money we were making from the railways was through the cutting of goods. And it was through the cutting of goods like manganese and bauxite, especially from that part of the Western region. And then also cocoa, and then if you like timber and the likes. Now, for some years now, the railway has been down. The railway being down is now a benefit for those who are running haulage business using trucks.
The trucks, yeah.
Now, I can tell you today that the people who are benefiting from the haulage truck business using their trucks, they will not wish to see the railway up. I can bet you that. And all those people have connections to the political system. They will wish to remain there. They will wish that their business will thrive.
Yeah.
It's the same way if you bring it to the rice argument. If today the railway is up, the country will benefit. Economically, will gain more. It will save the roads. In fact, the roads in Takoradi and Takwa, they are deteriorating faster because of the trucks.
Of the haulage trucks, yeah.
So if you have a railway that is working, you are doing two things. You are gaining more and you are having a longer lifespan for the roads. But we don't. And it's political will.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. This rice and chicken we are all talking about, it's people's businesses.
Yeah.
People's business, and it's huge.
Okay, so...
And so, for me, everything is about the political will. So until we have it, we should forget.
Okay, so, Eben, the thing about this is, I have always held the position that the political will come about as long as the politicians perceive that they are going to lose votes if they don't go in the direction of the tide that the nation is going in. So how about we forget about the politicians and create the underground swell? You know, because like in the rice, in the case of the rice that you mentioned earlier, we've seen a slow, but very intense groundswell taking place right now, where a lot of people are suddenly realizing, it's almost like an awakening.
It's true.
That this thing is real. We can do this. Let's get our own rice. Can we not do the same with the poultry?
Kwaku, I think we are at that point. But you see, for me, poultry is a bit tricky because I may easily, depending on the rice I buy, detect what a local rice is. Because I can go and buy Nanes rice and I'll see. Poultry or chicken, for instance, it's not so easy even to know which chicken you are consuming. I don't know if I'm right, but you can, with the chicken you are consuming, sometimes how do you even know if it's local or foreign? Really? I don't think you always know. It's not that simple. You may need a certain technique. So for instance, so for the last Christmas and this one, I got a poultry farmer around.
Yeah.
So before December, I give him like 600 cedis. He raised some chicken for me.
Yeah.
And then, so by December, he's going to give me like 20.
Okay.
So that I'll be able to share among people and stuff. I mean, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, okay.
And because he's doing it for me, by that I know that, okay, it's locally produced for me.
Grown, yeah.
But then, chicken is a bit tricky, not like the rice. But like you said, those who can really detect and know the difference, of course, within the industry, those who are doing in the industry, they know the difference. If otherwise, for me, that's a bit tricky. But like you said, leadership is failing. And it will have to take a lot of us to take some of those decisions. But also don't forget that we, the society that will also, or we, the citizens who will also take the decision, there are some of us who are also benefiting from the import. Because that's their business. Yeah. So even when it's a bit tricky, but I think that it has to take leadership. I mean, look at just one person started a campaign, Samens. It tells you that leadership is influence. And it tells you that if him, without any political power behind him, he's able to stimulate a simple campaign and is getting along. I can tell you that this December, local rice producers will have one of the bumper harvests. You watch it in terms of the money they will make.
I believe.
So it's leadership. People need to buy the bullets. They are not ready because it's going to affect certain people. But that's in the short term. But in the long term, it will be a huge benefit for us.
For everyone.
Because it will scatter everywhere. Employment and all that. So it's just leadership.
Elvis, I think that as much as in the short term, in the immediate short term, the importers may be hit hard if everybody switches and goes away from that. I think that eventually it's a matter of changing your business plan, right? Or changing your business direction. You can still benefit in many other ways.
So I've always had these trade association and groups. They need to invest in research and let their policy statement be backed by research. Government doesn't import chicken. So if you're asking government to reduce chicken imports, you got it wrong. It's individual who import chicken.
Yes. But government can do something about it.
Well, if government can do something, what do you want government to do? What strategies can government use Your country has signed on to several protocols. Do you know the World Trade Organization rules? If you increase tax on your product, there should be a retaliatory tax. That is what America and China are fighting. So if your country has signed so many international protocols that ties its hand from taking such measures, don't expect it. See, the critical issue is about taste. Okay? The critical issue about consume made in Ghana or is about taste.
Taste or mindset?
Taste.
I beg to differ.
You beg to differ. Let me tell you.
Okay.
We were doing our local rice. There got a time that they so countries told us, we are hungry, so they are giving us aid.
Yeah.
So they brought rice, large quantity, were given to us free. We ate it, we were like, this one is sweeter than the Ghana one.
Yeah, but those were the days when Ghana rice had stones and dust and dirt in it.
So let me finish. So you eat that, this one is sweeter. 5 years after this, the food aid will not come anymore. But then the people have developed a taste for it. So now they are asking for it. So then the private people take advantage to import and sell.
Yeah.
You see, when I go to the market as an individual, I want to buy made in Ghana at all costs. But I see my purchasing power determine what I buy. If I am buying one bag of rice, which is imported 200, and maybe the locally produced is 250, I'll look at my purchasing power and decide which one to buy. So once you have told me that it's good to buy made in Ghana, I have to look at how much I have in my pocket and what it can buy
to do the purchase.
Because I need to buy more quantities.
In the case of the rice is local produced rice is cheaper.
So you see, when you do some of these things, it's something that you need to take time. The U.S. The Department of Agriculture's grain report says that only 25% of local rice is consumed in urban areas. 75% of imported rice is consumed in urban areas. It says that even though local rice is more nutritious than the so-called polished rice, we have a mentality that says that our local rice is inferior quality.
Which is where my issue is.
You see, brown rice is the best rice. Any polished rice you eat is not rice, it's sugar.
No, I mean,
so it's completely
it's
sugar.
A stretch to say sugar.
It's completely sugar. Check the research.
It's not sugar.
I'm telling you, no. The rice you eat that is polished one, they've taken all the nutrients out. So the long grain rice and all the fat. Yes. So other countries have decided, okay, if it is more of sugar, we can use sin tax to increase the cost of imported rice, so that the local ones become more less expensive, so that people can buy. One of the problems of Ghana is effective distribution outlets. There was this woman called Mrs. Afanyi-Dadzie about 10 years ago, started this project called Buy Made in Ghana. And he started opening made in Ghana shops. He has one at Accra, Pole, and other places. And he sells only things that are made in Ghana.
Okay.
At that time, she was a lone ranger in the business. She did all she could, but at the end of the day, the support wasn't coming. So it got to a point, she has to relax the campaign at a point, because she's sinking so much money to even publicity and all that to get this thing done.
Yeah.
So, as a people, if we want local rice to be bought, we should check some things. When you read the U.S. Grain report, it says that the unilateral decision to reduce benchmark values at the ports by 50% is a factor that is going to influence more rice imports.
It's true.
Because it means that rice imported rice become more cheaper. So during that decision, somebody should have said that, look, we cannot just do a blanket 50% or 30% cut off for benchmark. Let's look at the things that we produce. Those ones, let's rather increase the taxes or the duties on them. Those that we don't produce that our people need, then those ones we can bring the benchmark value. But what did we do? We did a blanket reduction. So the U.S. grain report will tell you that because of that decision to reduce benchmark values, imported rice will become more cheaper. And in a country where poverty is huge, people go to the market with their pocket and their purchasing power, they are likely to buy more foreign rice than a local rice. So you see, we need a coordinated policy approach. That's why I said that this trade institution organization, I like them, but I realize that most of them don't really invest into research so that they can present a real proposal. By now, they should be telling the government that benchmark reduction has made poultry and rice cheaper than what we do here. So review it. Rather increase the taxes on those ones.
But government knows this.
No, that's what I say. We take decisions. Every country that makes progress, not politicians that make it progress.
Okay.
Decisions are taken by technocrats based on well-informed research. Politicians only come to announce. But we live in a country where it's the politicians who must take decisions for us. That is why we are not making progress. If that policy was given to technocrats to really look at, they would advise the government, look, if you do a blanket thing, something like poultry and rice, which are hugely imported, what it means that they become more cheaper. And when they become more cheaper, more people will buy. So import will increase, which the U.S. Grain Report has said. So instead of that, let's increase the taxes on those ones rather, or we will not tax those ones. The things that our people need, but we are unable to produce, let's do the benchmark values on that. Then that policy would have been serving a purpose. But that policy has made import of chicken and rice now cheaper. So if you go to the market and you have 200 cedis in your pocket, and you look at foreign and you can buy 2, and local you can buy 1, obviously based on your purchasing, but you want to survive. So you want to buy the foreign one. So we should begin to come up with real research reports and then give it, tell government that we have done our research. A, B, C, D, what. Look, we are in Ghana. This trade association have not done any work, but the U.S. Department of Agriculture has done a report that he found that because of benchmark reduction, there will be more increase in rice and poultry importation. So you see, we need to come to the table with well-informed positions, not emotional ones to say government should reduce. How should government do it? That will be efficient. If the government is not able, assuming that the government is not able to think it to the way you want, you present the proposal to the government that we did our work and realize that if we go by these strategies, we can get this thing done. So once I support them, and I want local produce to be cheaper for all of us to enjoy it, I think that we need to do so. I have a friend in Germany. He said the children are taught in school that everything they should buy made in Germany. Because that is how they are building their economy. From kindergarten, they teach the children that for your economy to remain strong, buy made in Ghana. And see, when it takes the children to supermarket and want them to buy anything foreign, they said, oh, their teacher says, if Germany will continue to be a stronger country, they must buy made in Ghana. So they will look at the label. They will look at the label before they buy. They will just not buy. If we think it's a mindset, then we need to be teaching people from the kindergarten level to understand that it's not to support the economy. We should. So these are policies and suggestions. I expected this organization to bring to government and say, if we introduce this teaching in the schools for kids to know that buying made in Ghana means supporting the economy. Mean that when they finish school, there will be companies that will be there for them to go and look for a job. And therefore, it's their interest to buy made in Ghana. And that if we are including a benchmark value for poultry and those that we can do here, let's not reduce benchmark values. Let's add it to those things that we don't import. Therefore, they shouldn't be blanket. I expect them to present concrete positions. My wife just come and say government should stop or should decrease rice import or poultry import. I don't know how he wants us to do it. The marketing, they need to develop a strategic marketing. The important, the only thing they have done is that they have a solid background of distribution network. So when they bring the rice, it will get to Navrongo, it will get to Keta, it will get to Elubu, but it was imported to Temaport. The local rice has a problem of distribution network, and that's one key thing they need to look at. You go to the market, you want to buy local rice. It's not there.
I went to a couple of shops this weekend myself. And
you realize that there's a big hole in distribution network, and they need to hire some consultants to come in and help them how to put together a distribution network for their produce. We don't have a distribution network. So how the people who go to the market and want to buy made in Ghana get the products to buy? But for the importer, he knows that the critical problem is distribution network. So they've invested in distribution network that when the goods lands in Tema, it will get to Boli, it will get to anywhere in Ghana, it will get there. So there are key issues that they need to research and come out with good positions. Then if the government is not doing that, then we can take the government on. But to just say that reduce import without giving me the strategies that government should use, for me, excuse me, it's a bit on the shallow side.
All right. So, Eben, let's just quickly move on to the next topic. I mean, we can talk about this all day. I have so many things running through my head about this importation things. But let's talk about get on the last topic. Western Togoland. It doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. The leader is somewhere in hiding and is releasing videos on his thoughts on the arrest of some of his members. What do you make of what's going on right now?
It's an interesting issue. This morning, I was reading an article written by Cameron Dodu, one of Ghana's veteran journalists. So he wrote about this incident, and then he was trying to give us the example of the Biafra war in Nigeria and how the ethnic group, especially the Igbos, wanted their own independence with General Ojumegu Ojukwu. And what that happened, how almost millions of people died in Nigeria, and eventually they failed, they couldn't get the independence, and today Nigeria is still there. Even today, there are people sometimes who think about that they want a certain secession. I mean, and this is not unique to Ghana. I mean, we know what is going on. We know what happened in Sudan. Over 20 years period, they fought for it, and they got South Sudan as a country today. We know over 2 million people died. The cost is huge. We know what is happening in Spain. Catalonia is still fighting for. So, I mean, it's not new. It's not new globally. But, you know, there are steps to being a country. I mean, there are steps you need to follow. And so far, what has happened, we can call it more like a joke. But then, you don't also just play with it. But let's not just forget that the Western Togoland was indeed a British colony in the 19th century. But we know that before Ghana became independent, they voted in a plebiscite to be part of Ghana. And they've been part of Ghana since 1956 or 57 when we became independent. So, but obviously those who were not happy perhaps voted against the plebiscite are still those elements who are now still pushing that. But I mean, so UN recognizes that they are part of Ghana, and they are part of this territory. So I don't know how they are going to really get independent, because you need a recognition of countries, you need a recognition of the UN, which already accepts that you are part of Ghana. So I really don't see where this is going to go. But government needs to handle it with tact and some maturity.
Is government doing enough?
No, I think they are doing enough. You see, let's not be entertaining these misguided elements that said that Western Togoland is going for.
You think that's what it is?
Of course, it is. They have been there since before independence. They opposed the plebiscite to join Ghana. So that old man has been there before independence. And they were the ones who were even opposed Kwame Nkrumah for all his rule. So it's nothing new. But the impression they are creating that Western Togoland is voter region is completely inaccurate. In fact, even in the voter region, all the coastal communities were not German territories. They are British territories. So they don't belong to Western Togoland, because all the voter region coastal communities, because the British were in the coastal area because they were looking for opportunity to ship things outside. So when they came, they were only capturing communities mostly along the coast. So if you go to voter region, there are places that if you go, you'll be shocked that all these places were British colony. If you go to places like Adakulu, Mafikumasi, Bato, Sugakope, Akachi, Joje, Denu, Agbozume, Kliko, Aflau, Kita, Angoga, Afiadenima, all these things were British colonies. They were not part of the Western Togoland. The Western Togoland people are those who are from the Ho, Pando, Kokwe, Amfuega, Vakpo, Have areas. Agotime, those are the Western Togoland people. And Western Togoland stretches from Volta to Oti region, to Northern region, to Northeast, to Upper East region. The only region that can boldly say that they are purely Western Togoland is the newly created Oti region.
I see.
But all the other regions, parts of it, were all Western Togoland. So if somebody sits at home and says he and his family are declaring independent, and there's nobody from Oti region, there's nobody from Northern region, there's nobody from Northeast, there's nobody from Upper East, how do you then succeed as Western Togoland? They don't have the numbers. If all these regions have their representatives who are saying that we want, then we think that it's something that is serious. But currently, I don't see it being any serious thing. There are just a few people. And after this old man and some group of people have opposed the plebiscite, and even when they were defeated, they opposed Kwame Nkrumah. And so it's not a new thing. They have been doing this thing all along. Mahama arrested them in 2016. Mahama government have to arrest them, take them to court for a while, and then leave them. So for me, the current approach by the government to deal with them properly is good. I am from voter region. I've not asked anybody to go. I am from the part of the voter region that is actually Western Togoland. But I've not asked for. I'm not asking anybody. I'm from South, that's the Peki Valley. So you come to Parliament, that's my father's hometown, and Tongo, that's my mother's hometown. That's 2 towns away. We are in the Peki Valley, and so we are those that are actually
fully Western Togoland.
Yes, we are those that are actually Western Togoland, and we are not even asking anybody to go and declare independence on our behalf. So it's just a group of misguided people. They didn't start today. They have been there before independence, and they have always been there.
We gotta go. All right. Thank you very much for watching the news review segment. I was joined by Elvis Darko, who is the editor of the Final newspaper, and also Ebenezer Afanyi-Dadzie, who is the head of Citi Business News here. at Citi TV. Thank you for watching.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this video.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Citi Tube,
for exclusive breakfast daily content and other Citi TV programs.
Like, comment, and share with your friends.